Politics, commentary, entertainment, sports, news and opinion. Now, here is Steve Malzberg.
I don't care who stands up, whether it's Marco Rubio or and talks about let everybody in. You won't get one vote. Every one of those votes goes to the Democrats. Now, with that, you have to do what's right. You have to do what's right. It's not about the votes necessarily. But of those 11 million potential voters, which will go to 30 million in a not too long future, you will not get any of those votes no matter what you do, no matter how nice you are, no matter how soft you are, no matter how many times you say, rip down the fence and let everybody in. You're not going to get the votes.
All right, folks, welcome to the road to the White House. And in case you couldn't tell, today we take a look at the possible presidential run of one Donald Trump in 2016. And joining us to talk about that is Forbes social policy analyst Carrie Sheffield. Welcome back.
Thank you,
Great
Steve.
to see you.
Good to be here.
All right, so Donald Trump, I have a hard time believing, and we could start with this, that he will ever run, especially for president. You know, he toyed with governor, he toyed with president, didn't happen. And this is not a knock on him. If I could entice the world by saying I'm going to run for president every so often, I would do it, but nobody would care. But I just don't think he'll ever do it.
Your name has been floated on
Oh,
this
has it?
channel just now.
Yeah,
You
right.
heard it here first. I'm floating it.
Okay. So, but any real shot that he will actually run?
Well, okay. So Politico and New York Post, other outlets have been reporting that he spent $1 million on research to see if he would have a viable candidacy. I mean, that's not chump change for most of us. Maybe it is. Maybe that's Trump change.
Very
but
good.
$1 million.
I'm going to steal that Trump change.
There we go.
Yeah.
So that's $1 million to spend to research about your viability. I mean, he has amazing name recognition. He is a household brand. If you look at his Twitter following, he actually has more Twitter followers than Hillary Clinton, John McCain, and Mitt Romney. So
wow. Now I know why it was so hard to say, because it's quite a feat. Yeah.
Yes.
No, that is amazing. So I mean, he's definitely had, you know, he has the name, he has the popularity. People do flock to him. They want to hear what he has to say.
No, I think he taps into the populism and the grassroots. I think he reads that very well. I disagree with him on what he did with the birther and the birth certificate. I think that was, I think it backfired just in terms of the Republican brand in the general in 2012. I mean, I think he's saying some things that make a lot of sense for a lot of people when it comes to Obamacare. Just what a disaster it's been. I think that rings true for a lot of people in middle America.
Yeah.
But that all being said, I mean, he's never held elected office.
Yeah.
And if you look at, you know, the Republican base and the Republican quote unquote establishment, they're pretty risk averse. They want to go with someone who has held elected office, who has been a public official, and he has not done that at all.
Oh, he would have to, obviously he wouldn't get financial support from the Republican establishment. He would have to finance it on his own. He would have to have a grassroots and just sweep his way through the primaries.
Right.
But that would involve also giving up TV and and media, and I don't know that he has that in him. Let's put up a list of some of the things, some of the impediments. You know, we talk about people who are well off and people who have money, as they did with Mitt Romney. And of course, to a lesser extent so far with Hillary Clinton, based on her book. You can actually pull that out. We don't need it anymore. If it's yeah, we don't. You can hear me. You know, $3.9 billion estimated worth. If I have that right, you would probably know better, being at Forbes. But how much will they? Assuming he runs, how much of an impediment is that?
Well, it certainly backfired for Mitt Romney. I think in 2012, Romney's wealth became a liability. And I do think that the climate is a little bit different now. I think people are realizing what Obamonomics means for the average person. Just super high underemployment. And you know, African American males, I mean, the hardest hit.
Twice
and they
the rate
haven't
of whites,
recovered. Yeah, I mean, so I think the fact that someone is successful and has money, I don't think will be as much sort of a third-party kind of Ross Perot-like figure if he really wanted to stick it to that Republican
Well,
base.
that's exactly what it would do. It would ruin it for a Republican candidate.
Right.
Chairman and President of the Trump Forbes. I mean, I love
Well,
his
and he
candidacy.
didn't go anywhere. I
No,
mean,
he didn't.
I love Steve.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a great friend.
No.
But,
And he's
I
a
think-
lot more low key than Donald Trump,
yeah,
obviously.
he's very much more low key.
Yeah.
So I just think that what he did with the birther certificate, I think that really turned off a lot of people
Well,
who
that-
are
yeah,
the donor circle.
True. Now, he did also make an offer to Obama, which, as far as I know, is still standing, I believe, where he would give, I don't know, I can't keep up to what it was, but it started as a million or so, and now it's multiplied, if he would produce his college transcripts or records or something of that effect. And, I understand why the media would jump on that and say it's ridiculous or whatever, but if I'm Barack Obama and I could give 5 million, 1 million to my favorite charity by producing my college transcripts, I mean, how many kids could I help by producing my college transcripts? Why would I not do it? But that's the game. That's what I'm not going to call it a game. That's who Donald Trump is. He's not afraid to put himself out there, go out there, say, "I dare you to do this. Here's my money. Go give me."
Yeah. No, and he was very,
some people like that.
That's true. I mean, he was very critical of the Romney campaign for saying that the Romney campaign didn't take enough risks.
Oh yeah.
Which, to be fair, I voted for Romney. I was a Romney girl, but I do agree that he was very risk averse.
Oh, absolutely.
He ran
yeah.
sort of a checklist campaign, very careful.
Yeah.
And I could see some things that Donald Trump was saying in terms of
Yeah.
being willing to take risk. I think you have to do that in order to really tap into sort of the zeitgeist of what people are feeling.
Let's fantasize here for a second, and let's assume Donald Trump could somehow win the Republican nomination. And then it's
I don't know if I would call that a fantasy, but
well,
me.
fantasy. Well, I'm not meaning that you would like it. I'm just saying that it may not
I
happen.
guess fantasy has positive connotations. But
All right. Well, Donald Trump and fictional. How about a fictional?
There you go.
Fictional matchup: Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. What on earth would that campaign be like?
oh wow, Clinton.
I mean, they both got a lot of money, so the money issue, although Donald Trump probably has a lot more, still the money issue kind of goes away, because if you're making $250,000, $300,000 to speak at a college, you can't
That's
quite say,
true.
hey, you're really rich and I'm not, you know?
Yeah, Hillary has been a senator and she was Secretary of State.
Yeah, so
Granted,
experience
she did
comes
a
in.
really awful job. That being said, I think that the American people like someone who has served in government. So I think if Donald Trump wants to run for president, he should probably go for something lower first and then see how he does at
Yeah.
a lower elected office.
Well, he talked
Free
about
advice.
running for governor this time around here in New York State, but Rob Astorino got that after Donald said no.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it's going to happen. But I did want to talk about Donald Trump as a possibility. We talk about so many aspects of him and so many things that would hold him back. What are his strengths? I mean, what are Donald Trump's strengths that name recognition obviously is a strength, which could be for good or bad. But what, he talks a lot about economics. He does. He
Yeah.
talks about China, how we are in debt to China, and every day we're getting more. And he's really big into that debt and bonds to China,
Right.
and seems to understand the economy.
No, I think he also on foreign policy, I think he has understood what Obama has done in terms of the failures that we've seen. And I think he understands, for example, with Putin responds to someone who is strong. And this is something that Donald Trump keeps saying, and I think accurately, that President Obama has really not been an accurate or an acceptable counterweight to Putin's aggression.
But would voters put faith in somebody who, you talk about governors run and win, but somebody, as you said, has never been held elective office. Can they take what he says about foreign policy seriously,
No,
even though they might agree?
Right. Well, and I think there's just sort of this sort of loose cannon question mark over Donald Trump that he has a loose mouth. Which is great for TV. I mean, he is a great entertainer.
You're fired.
Exactly. No, everybody that's a household phrase, and he could use that all the time. But
yeah, true.
But I don't know if you want to run foreign policy in such a way.
And as someone who has wonderfully lovely hair, what about his hair? Would that be a problem?
That's in the asset category.
Okay.
I would say that's a plus.
Okay, there you go. Great to talk to you, and thanks for being on the road to the White House, Carrie Sheffield. Always
Thanks,
good to
Steve.
see you.
Great to
We'll
be
see
here.
you again.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we will continue with another segment tomorrow as we run down the field of potential Republican presidential candidates, from the very possible and very serious to the not as likely, like a Donald Trump. You know what's next. You know it, you love it, you really can't live without it. It's Gimme 5 on the Steve Malzberg Show.